right, let's go. Good morning, everybody. I know you are all expecting to see our incredibly fearless leader, Cheryl Hickerson, but she had an opportunity that came up this morning, and unfortunately, she could not be in two places at once. So she asked me if I would be willing to step in and host today's Tuesday topic, which I can't even believe she asked, but I'm also so incredibly excited to be here. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Beth Moss, and I'm the Four Corners Regional Delegate. And I have been a member of Females in Finance since almost the very beginning. Cheryl likes to joke and say that I was maybe member number 3. I honestly think I was somewhere in the top 100, but I can share that when I met Cheryl and heard about all she was building, I was immediately 100% on board. And I am just love our community and the platform and how we all support one another and bring new ideas to the table and honestly just help each other be better. And we have this whole community that I've never been a part of for any other financial organization that I've been a member of. So I'm incredibly happy to be here today. And with that, I wanted to share a little bit about what today's Tuesday topic is going to be. First of all, thank you all so incredibly much for taking the time out of your day. We understand how valuable time is. It's our most precious commodity. And we really do hope that you take the information that's shared in the Tuesday topics and you can turn around and utilize them in your business to build stronger relationships, and that the knowledge that's being shared is really, truly valuable. With that, today's presenter is actually our very own Mary Schmid. And if anybody does not know Mary, she's incredible, for one. Mary happens to be an author. She's a business coach. She's also a keynote speaker, and she works with financial professionals to help them build stronger relationships with their clients. And today she's going to be talking about the power of conversation. So Mary, thank you so much for being here and for willing to share your story and to help us all become better communicators.
Thank you for the invitation, and I share your sentiment. I'm absolutely delighted to be part of this community. And I'm very excited to present today. If I were to ask you, are you good at conversations? You might chuckle and simply say to me, like, really, Mary, this is what I do all day long. I talk to people, I lead conversation. Of course, I'm good at them. My question is different. How effective are your conversations in building trust? Provocative, I know. But let me take you back with me to April 2016. Up until that point in time, I'd had not one, not two, not three experiences with financial people that left me wondering, like, is it me that I don't get it? Or is it them that they don't get me? Whatever it was, I left. I said, I can't do this. I can't do this. So along comes Pat, a financial advisor, and he said, well, I'd like to work with you. Well, I thought, seriously? No problem, even though I'm not of this industry and want nothing to do with this industry. This time he's paying me. Sure, we'll work together. So we started working together. And as part of what we were doing, he said to me, we role play. And so he said, I think I'm getting Mary really good at these conversations. So I'm thinking, yeah, show me. So we're in a conversation and like I got immersed, like what he was doing and what he was saying was really good. I forgot for a moment that this was a role play. And then I remembered, oh, he's doing exactly what I taught him to do. Is this guy good or is he good? Well, you guys, he's good because I taught him. At the end of the conversation, I looked at him and I simply said, if this is the way that you're going to communicate with your clients, I want to be one of them. Was that good? It was really good because I was able to, for the first time, have conversations where I really felt heard and understood, and that someone was really helping me to do what I needed to do. So that was good. But I didn't realize how good that was until December 16th of 2016. You know, life is unpredictable. And it was unpredictable for me because my husband of 41 years died unexpectedly of natural causes. So we get over the shock, and I remember coming home and opening the door into my house. We got through the funeral stuff and all of that. I remember opening the door and stepping inside and looking around and thinking, saying, who is going to help me? Who's there? And Pat, my financial advisor, name popped into my head. He was there. He was my safety net. It was not just the plan and the product and whatever he helped me with. It was him. That was my defining moment, and when my light bulb went on, because it not was his conversation just good, and not only did we have a good relationship, we had a trusting relationship that I could count on him. And I thought to myself, well, if I could teach one person this, what would happen if I spread the word? And so as a result of that, I've been doing since 2016 work exclusively in financial services, helping people to understand what goes on in our brain in conversations so we can lead better conversations, not just good ones, but effective ones that build trust. Because what I've learned along the way, there's nothing wrong with people's ability to trust. We need to learn how to lead a conversation in a different way. And especially in these times, in this world of uncertainty, your clients want a personal connection more than ever. Mm. Yet the research that comes out simply says there's a gap between what they think their financial professionals communicating and what they really want. So it just might be that what you're communicating may not be landing with your clients. And in fact, it may be working against you. So our roadmap today is we're going to take a look at what is this science of conversation and how will that help us to shift our conversations to one that really connects. So imagine when your client comes to see you, what are they really thinking? Am I going to be okay? Are you going to listen to me? Are you going to help me? Or are you going to make me feel like I don't count, or that I don't know very much, or that I'm stupid, or that I don't really want to open up to you? Do you care enough to listen to help me solve my problem? Is really what they're asking themselves. And while they're asking themselves that question, do you know what's going on in their brain? There's doubt, uncertainty, maybe even fear. And with that going on in the back of their mind, their brain becomes flooded with cortisol and other neurotransmitters that think of flight, fight, freeze. It's the amygdala hijack. And when they're in that place, they can't connect, they can't think, they can't problem solve. All they want to do is protect themselves. So your job is to lead a different kind of conversation so that they feel free to open up, to connect and tell you what's really on their mind. Because when you do that, there's another reaction that goes on in their brain. And that is their brain becomes flooded with oxytocin, the social bonding chemical. And when that happens, it opens up our prefrontal cortex, our executive brain, the brain where we can think and problem solve and connect and trust, because trust originates in the prefrontal cortex. So while you think you may be communicating well, it just might be missing the mark. So let's talk about, that's science, and that's science, that's basically the science, and that's all fine and dandy, but what do you do with that?
Yeah, exactly.
Right? So now we kind of get this. So like there's this dichotomy going on in the brain. What do you do when you're in conversations? And I don't care if it's the first conversation with a client that you're hoping to become a client, or it's someone that you've had a relationship with. The first few moments in your conversation is absolutely critical, because it's your opportunity to invite them into the conversation with you. Because if you're not intentionally including them, you're accidentally excluding them. When you exclude others and they're not part of the conversation with you, they tune out, they shut down, and it doesn't work. So let me give you a couple ideas about how this operates, because what you really want to do is emotionally connect, turn on the oxytocin. How do you show up? People read each other's energy within a second and make judgments about whether it's safe or not safe. So how do you show up? I suggest that we show up really relaxed, open chest, relaxed, warm eyes, a smile. So get out from under your desk, go out and meet the client in the lobby or wherever, meet them in your office, and just look at them and smile, genuinely. And instead of talking about the weather, extend your hand, reach out to them to connect and say, I'm really looking forward to spending time with you. I'm happy that you're here today. If it's a return client, if it's a longstanding client, something, you know, I've been thinking about you and I'm really excited that we can spend time to catch up. Bingo, you've established the emotional connection. But that's one way to do that. But then we want to keep that going. And so once we come on into my office and happy to see you, what's been going on, set the context. Why am I here? We want to reduce the fear, and you want to show that you're leading the conversation, not manipulating it or selling. You're leading the conversation. So set the context. We're meeting today to XYZ. Simple, effective, another invitation for them to be in conversation with you. So set the context is incredibly important. The next piece that we can do is simply say, you know, depending upon what your circumstance is, but just opening up the conversation about them. What's been going on in your world? What's new? Before we get into business, I really like to know more about you as a person.
Can I ask, are there certain keys at that point if you're not getting like receptive conversation back? Do you have like certain phrases or keywords that you will try to utilize to encourage them to be communicative with you?
That's a really good question, because it happens rarely, because once you invite people in to be in the conversation with you and you open it up about them and being interested in them, most people will like to just talk about themselves. The brain gets a hit of dopamine. We love to talk about ourselves. And the more we talk, the more we talk. It feels good. Yes, there will be an occasion where people will simply say, well, just, you know, I don't want to talk about that. I only want to talk about why I'm here today. Bingo, fine, go with it. Go with it. So what brings you in today? Well, I've got this problem and I got this and I've got that. Go with it. And along the way, as they're telling you why they're here or what the problem is that they want solved, you can pick up on cues. Well, I just have this problem because I got too much tax on this or that. Really, so what happened? What led up to that? Okay. Meet them, you know, we always say meet them where they're at. That's how you meet them where they're at. Most people will be happy to learn about, to tell you about themselves. And if they're not, they're not. I had one of my clients has a couple who owns many businesses, and they would come in with their spreadsheets and they're all ready for their review meeting. And this is the way that it goes. We got to check this, we got to check that. And he just went with it. So they were done with that conversation. Everything was going out well. And he just looked at them and he said, you know, I'm just curious, how are you guys doing? What's been going on? Dead silence. They looked at each other, looked at him, and they said, this is the first time anyone has ever asked us that. And now came the story, what they were doing, what was going on. And so they had many businesses and several advisors. And so instead of simply saying, and you simply said, well, I'm really glad that you shared that with me. I look forward to next time we meet. Next time they met, they came in and the assets that they had in other accounts slowly started dribbling in. Why? Because they had a relationship. It wasn't about the assets and it wasn't about, it's how are you? What can I do? How can I contribute to that? But it's about you as a person. Clients will share about themselves and their story. What do you want to know? I want to know, like, how did you end up in this career? What was your path? What was your journey? How did you get here? I'm so curious. There comes a point that it's your turn to share. So they share their story and they tell you all that's going on. Be gracious and thankful. Say, thanks for sharing that. I'm so glad that I get to know you. If it's all right with you, I'd like to tell you a little bit about me. You're being open and vulnerable, demonstrating that it's safe and secure to talk about things. But I don't want you starting out with your value statement, and I don't want your process and all the things that you do. I want you. Just like I started out this training session with simply saying, this is who I am, and this is what I do. That's the next thing. And it's a two or three in 1 minute, like, this is who I am as a person. Not what you do, but who you are. And I'm telling you, that is absolutely, it feels magical. Well, it is. It feels magical, but it's science. I share with you, you share with me. And when I know about you and you know about me, we put that together and we can create a partnership that we work together. It's not about me, the expert, and you, the client. It's about us. You bringing your life, I'm bringing my talents. We're putting that together, and together we can solve the challenges. So once you've known about that, the next piece is to simply say, what's important for you right now? So simple, so beautiful. And they will tell you. And there's your starting point. So we begin there. You've now addressed who you are, who they are, most importantly. No selling, no, like, I'm the greatest. I laugh, and one of the clients that I work with opens his statement. He goes, well, I could tell you how great I am, but you don't want to hear that. I could give you my bio, and that's really quite boring. But what I really want to tell you is, and then he says 2 or 3 statements. What really brings me happiness, why I'm in the business in the first place is I love to meet people and figure out what we can do together. Boom, done. It's that simple. So my question to you is, what is your defining story, or what is it that you can share personally with the people in front of you? No long dragged out story about 5 minutes long about all your adversities. I don't care about that, but I do care about who are you as a person, and are you willing, sitting across the table from the other person, are you willing to be vulnerable and to be open and to share with them? Are you willing to do that? I propose that you must be. If you want them to share with you, you also must be open to sharing with them. You role model, you show it. It's not words on the wall. We care for our clients. You show them by the words that you use and the way that you interact them, that you care and that you listen. And this is a safe space. You see, the first few minutes of your conversation are absolutely critical and set the stage for whether people are willing to be open or whether they're going to shut down and move into protection. So what do you think? These are just a couple ideas of starting the conversation by including others. What could you use to take away from this that would shift your conversations? You know, you're already good at conversations. I get that, but I want you to be effective. And what is one tidbit or one thing you could do that just shifts the conversation? And when you shift it, you're actually shifting the brain chemistry.
if there was one thing that you could share that, I mean, I know you work with several financial advisors and building better relationships with your clients. I mean, I would ask, is there one thing that you think that stands out the most, that has the biggest impact to create that comfortable environment? Well, yeah. Yeah.
In your ability to be confident and comfortable in leading these conversations. It's all about you. People read your energy. People read your intention. People read your purpose. So let's not let them misread that. Let's use our words to open up the conversation and show them by the words we use, our smile, our eyes, our body, all the nonverbals, along with the words that you use, that you're interested in them. And not only are you interested and do you care, you will help them. You will support them to solve whatever problems they're bringing forth to you, because it's all about creating this partnership.
Mary, I have a question for you.
Yes.
The scenario that you painted was an in-office scenario, but obviously a lot of people are working virtually these days. How do you, so the kind of meeting and greeting someone, shaking their hand, smiling at them isn't possible in exactly the same way in virtual. So how would you translate what you've shared into that context?
Yes, you won't have the physical contact, but you can still read energy via the screen. It's a little more difficult and it's hard to get the nuances. So you've got to really pay attention to what you're seeing on the screen, right? But the same way, I would open in the same way. Open the conversation. I'm happy that we're sharing time today. What's going on in your world? Well, I don't want to talk about what's going on. That's okay. What do you want to talk about? Same. It's the same. A little more difficult. Absolutely. Is it impossible? No. And in fact, sometimes our listening skills, when we're not distracted by all of the body language and all of the physical presence, are even more acute to tune into what people are thinking, what they're saying, what are their eyes saying. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you. That was helpful. And I know, at least for me, for my first calls, I actually do them on the phone because I find my listening skills get even better, even without use.
Isn't that interesting? And they can hear your voice and they can feel your energy. And it's I would agree with you. I've done phone calls. The phone calls almost are more your acuity, your listening skills are even more acute. You listen for pauses, you listen for silences, you listen for where they hesitate or where their tone of voice gets really excited or whether it becomes really subdued. It's noticing all those nuances. But I promise if you set it up in such a way to invite them into the conversation, they'll get it. They'll feel it, they'll know it. Because it's good to be good, but I don't want you guys to be good. I want you to be real effective. And now, and these are some ways that we can phone, video, in person, it doesn't matter. We can still set the conversation up to invite them into a conversation that leads to a partnership.
Can you maybe share some of the mistakes that you see financial professionals making when it comes to making a connection or building a relationship with their clients?
The biggest mistake is that they pitch. They pitch. It's all about me. It's all about how good I am. And here, you see, there's my process, and here are my plaques, and here's this, and here's that. It's all up. You guys laugh. It's not, it's true. Because they get a little nervous. They don't know what to say. So when you don't know what to say, what do? We talk about ourselves. And we talk about our process. We talk about things that we feel safe and comfortable talking about, not what the client wants to hear. They want to be invited in. And instead of inviting them into our conversation, we push them away. Here's my process. Here's my value statement. Here's why we're so good. Here's client stories. That has its place. maybe, but not in the beginning. Your whole job is to create that emotional connection by being a real person, and being a real person to the person who's in front of you. Because I always say to people, imagine what it's like for them to be sitting across from you.
Yeah.
That's what I want you to imagine, and get into the mindset that how can I help them to do that?
Yeah. You made me just think of, I've heard so many times, I sat with this advisor and all they did was talk about themselves. And unfortunately, this is something we hear from a lot of women is, it was as if I wasn't non-existent, or I was afraid to ask questions, and there's a lack of confidence. And so I would be curious how you help professionals overcome that. Are you very blunt and upfront and say you just need to stop this? Or is it a more, gradual, gentle process of helping them lead better conversations?
Well, it's yes, and I'm very direct, and I simply say, so what is the impact that you have on the other person? And is that what you want? You're talking to a couple and you're focusing on him, you're not talking to her, or you're focusing on yourself. What's the impact that creates? And is that what you want to create? Because that's what you're doing. Well, no, I didn't intend that. And I said, this is the thing. I think that people have really good intentions, but they just don't know that what they say lands wrong with the people that they're talking to. So we bring that full circle and saying, so this is what you say, and this is how it lands. What else can you do? Got a couple ideas for you to try. And then it's up to them to try it. But so I am direct, but in a loving way. I rarely say, well, you're wrong, that's not working. I'll simply say, well, that's interesting. And how did that work for you?
Mm-hmm.
Did you see how, when we do a video or we do a review, we call them, I deconstruct conversations. You see how this may have turned people off? Do you see how that made them back up? Do you see that? So what would be another way? And let's look at a couple different options, because, as I teach them, this is also how I want them to lead conversations with their clients. I don't want you saying to your client, well, that's all wrong. You're thinking about that all wrong. No. Well, that's interesting perspective. How did you learn about that? And how does that impact you? You see, you open it up and get curious rather than putting people down and shutting them off.
Mm-hmm. So with the curiosity, that actually brings, that's a great question, Laura. That was where I was going with this is, can you share a little bit with us, on how you work with firms or individuals to make communication a priority for financial service professionals?
So everything I do, my motto is everything starts with a conversation. So I have a conversation with them and simply saying, so what's going well and what's not going well? And what is it that you're looking for? What are the results that you're getting? What is it that you're not getting? And could it be that it just might be your conversations are standing in the way? And from there, we then craft an engagement, and it looks different for everyone. Mm-hmm. Some people may, it just depends upon what is it, the outcomes that they want. Yeah.
And to Laura's question, do your clients that you work with or firms, do they do any form of tracking to see how effective it's been with them building better relationships with their clients? Is it result driven?
Yes.
Okay.
And so the results are, with the clients that I've worked with, that they have their business increases by 20%.
Oh, wow.
So they have new clients, they have better clients, they have clients that do the work that they have clients that want to work with them. And how delightful is that? But they're, without adding any staff, without doing anything differently, the results indicate at least a 20% growth in firms and with individuals. Because here's the deal, it's a compound effect. So we open the conversation and we include people, but imagine that this is how your emails go out. Or imagine how your emails or your voicemails imagine that goes out instead of just simply saying, look, your appointment is with Mary at so and so and so time. Starts with like, we're looking forward. We have a reserved time. If this doesn't work out, call us. Then imagine, so that's a ding, that feels good. And imagine the client walking in your office, and if you have an executive assistant, she gets up and simply says, we're happy that you're here. Mary will be with you in a few minutes, but in the meantime, may I get you a drink? May I, whatever, warm. And then you get out of your desk and come to the front office and you greet them. Say, I'm happy to see you. I'm looking forward to spending time. Ding, ding, ding. You just have given them so many oxytocin hits, I will say. And then you have a meeting, you send notes. Instead of just sending your notes, you put a little paragraph in there, something really personal. I really enjoyed our time together. I enjoy hearing about X, Y, and Z, something really personal to that conversation. And then you have your body of what it is that you're recapping. And what happens really is that clients get so, I don't want to use the word, they get so used to this and they love it so much that they walk in the office and they simply say, I know the drill. I know the drill. You're happy. You're happy. Yeah, we're all happy. But you see, they sort of get imprinted in their brain that this is a happy place. It's a safe place. It's a place where we work in partnership.
I love that, the happy and safe place. And I mean, ultimately, we are in the relationship business. That is what we're here for, is that we are all passionate to help serve others and help others achieve their goals. And so I do want to be conscious of our time.
I want to say one thing.
Yes.
Just remember this. It feels magical. It's science. That's how our brain works. Male, female, young, old, cross cultures. That's how we're wired as human beings. And here's what research also shows us, that after the end of the meeting, I'm going to forget mostly of what you told me. I will remember 6% of what you said, but I will remember 100% of how you made me feel for a long, long time. So it's our opportunity to make our conversations count.
Oh, that's so impactful. Love that. Does anybody have any questions that they wanted to ask Mary? I know that we're just at like 35 minutes, but I want to make sure that we have a chance to address any other questions that may come in. No? Okay.
So if people do have questions, call me. Call me here.
And you can always reach out to Cheryl as well. She'll be getting the recording of this today. So I'm sure she'll touch base with anybody if anybody has any additional questions. Oh, thank you, Mary, for sharing your number.
Yes. So this is the deal. This is the deal. Everything begins with a conversation. If you get stuck in something, you're not quite sure how to do something, give me a quick call. I'll walk you through it. I'll simply say, this is you tell me the situation. We'll simply say, let's do a quick debrief. How about this? Or how about that? Try this, or maybe that. In the spirit of the community, as I always say, give what you can, give first, give first.
Oh, yes.
And so if I can be of support, or you want a few minutes to process something, call me. I'll get back to you and we'll have a conversation. Everything begins with a conversation. And so let's make ours count.
Thank you so much, Mary. You're just making me smile left and right. Honestly, this has been so impactful and so uplifting, and you're just incredible. I could feel your energy coming through the screen and how passionate you are about this. And hopefully we all become better communicators. So thank you so much for your time today. And I highly recommend
my pleasure.
I highly recommend everybody connect with Mary. She's so nice and she sends the nicest messages.
Thank you, Mary.
You're welcome. Thank you. Thank you for sharing your time with me and giving me your attention. If I can give support to you, call me.
Can we get an earpiece where you talk to us and tell us what to say during the meeting?
Put me in your ear. That's funny that you say this, because this is what my clients say. It's like, they say, it's like you're sitting on my shoulders. You're sitting on my shoulder. Like, what do I say? What do I say? And then I just stop and I breathe. I go, okay, I don't have to say anything. I don't have to do anything.
You need a bumper sticker. What would Mary say?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I'm sitting on your shoulder, whispering in your ear. Bring it back to them. Ask one more question. Be curious. Don't judge. Be yourself. You're good. You're good. Thank you, ladies.
Wonderful. Thank you, everybody. I hope you
Mary.
all have absolutely terrific days. And I know that this will be pop up on all of the platforms with the recording. I'll send it to Cheryl today. And then if anybody needs anything else, please don't hesitate to contact any of us. And it's been so wonderful to spend this time with you all this morning. Thank you again, Mary. You're absolutely amazing.
Thank you.
Bye,
Bye-bye.
ladies. Okay, if yes, I'm just reading. If yes, you'll receive an email notification when the cloud recording is ready.